What is going on, YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the collaboration EP between Colt and Krizz Kaliko. Basically, this project is called Hoodbillies, and it came out in the fall of 2023. Now, this is the last holiday 2023 special I'm going to do with these 2023 albums. This one's going to come out. This one's going to come out a few days before Christmas. I wanted this one to kind of be a special one. This is because Colt and Krizz Kaliko aren't typically kind of talked about all the time. So I wanted to get to this one. This is kind of a low-key kind of one. This one I'm not sure if everyone. This is kind of one that I'm not sure if an overabundance of folks really knew about, just between Colt kind of being low-key and Krizz Kaliko kind of being an afterthought in today's times. Not wholesomely an afterthought, but just kind of here and there in terms of folks who still know about him in terms of stuff now that he's not on Tech Nine's label and stuff like that. I would have to say it's been since like 2020 since Krizz Kaliko's dropped an album and stuff. So I'd have to say basically the concept about it kind of deals with the territory. Like the title says, Hoodbillies. This is a cross between country rap and kind of country music and hip hop music and that type of stuff as far as that kind of happens. So there were a number of music videos dropped from this particular album. The three music videos were Badass American, Big Yeah, and Hits Different. And the thing about these particular ones, is I wound up recommending 2 out of 3 of the music videos that are on here, and basically 5 out of 6 songs on here. It's a pretty compact project. I do like the concept of getting this one. Has a good taste of some of this. Is kind of minimalist. I'm going to give this a pretty high score, but the thing about it is, I'm going to give this EP a rather high score, but the thing about it is it's not kind of immediate hitting in terms of the affability behind it. I feel like some of these, there are some good songs on here, but in terms of like a real blockade, kind of heavy hitting, hits like a ton of bricks kind of production on here, it's just kind of more kind of afterthought, just kind of minimalist kind of production, just kind of has like a back, it's kind of where production fare is kind of on the back burner, more so on the L. This record kind of has like a more heavy hitting in terms of the ambience and just the overall execution of how it kind of happens, where I feel like it's good, but it's just kind of the concept of it. Just if you're looking for like a real blockade kind of best beat of 2023 or something like that, it doesn't really have that effectual kind of goes. But I'm talking like I'm going to give this EP like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's going to get a lot higher score than that, but just would have to say it's just something to know that it's just not a very immediate project. I feel like some of these are just kind of more like not necessarily befuddled, but just kind of like afterthought kind of productions as far as it kind of happens. They're country fried for the most part. Yeah, the production is just kind of minimalist on here. It's just kind of, it's country music, it's country rap as far as it kind of goes. But in terms of what Colt kind of does on his solo stuff, I feel like Colt solo stuff just has more heavy hitting production as far as that kind of happens. And the Krizz Kaliko side of things with his strange music type sound and more alternative rap is not really vividly kind of seen on here. So it's just kind of an amalgamation where it's just kind of the production is just kind of more skeletal and minimalist and just like a light country kind of type stuff. But I think the execution, the overall emphasis is more on like the elements of like the lyricism and just the overall portrayal of like the moods that are kind of portrayed on this particular project. It's just something to know going in. But we'll go ahead and get to some of these. So I'm going to talk about the 5. So the only real song I don't recommend on this particular project is Big Yeah, which this one just kind of had like some feel good kind of energy. Not that there's a problem with feel good kind of energy, but it just kind of felt like a flat song and trying to nail that particular vibe. I think this was trying to be like a kind of this super pumped up kind of elevated kind of song as far as that kind of happens, just with like some real thrilling kind of compellingness, but it just didn't quite deliver as far as that kind of happens. It's just kind of a more bewildered kind of one, at least in terms of like the layout as to how it was supposed to happen. I feel like there's definitely some better ones like Hot Sauce, Fire It Up, and Badass American that just hit heavier. And all in all, most of this album is pretty big energy. I feel like this is a pretty thrilling ride. This has a lot of emphasis on like the elements of energy and just overall vocal delivery as far as that kind of happens. So it's just kind of the concept. This is like the only real dud as far as that kind of happens is Big Yeah. But talk about some of these, like Badass American is one of the ones that had a music video for it, and this is like a rock rap kind of pounder. Definitely this is a rock rap pounder. I would definitely have to say it's a good country fried stunt song. Definitely, it's just a swash kind of uptown. The song has some swash kind of uptown riffs, and it's just an overall kickstarter of a song. I just would have to say. So this is definitely a pretty nice one. Colt fits real easily on this particular song, and it's good to hear Krizz Kaliko on a song like this. Is this kind of good element for him to kind of be on as far as that kind of happens. Just a nice one to kind of have. Just really like a rock rap kind of one. Krizz Kaliko has done songs like this. It's just a good concept to kind of get, where it's almost kind of alternative rap. It's not really gnarled riff heavy like the stuff you'd get out of a metal band or something like that, but it kind of has like a good concept of just kind of being like this, like typical kind of stuff that you'd hear from like Yellow Wolf or Kid Rock or someone like that. Just kind of relatively lambent, but still kind of at least pounding enough to kind of have some heaviness in like a rock rap kind of sense as far as that kind of goes, I would have to say. So Badass American's a pretty pounding one. Another good highlight on here is Hits Different. This is a definite nice one. This is some late day after hours commerce, I would have to say. This is a good one to kind of hear just getting done with work as far as that kind of happens. Either you don't have work today or something like that. I like how Krizz Kaliko said on this particular song about that. I like how Krizz Kaliko said on this song, Friday, you don't have work today, something like that. It's kind of the effect of it. Just a good one to kind of have. This one's just kind of some late day after hours commerce, I would definitely say. It's a thrilling kind of getting ready to stunt track. I would definitely feel like it's just an overall exciting cut. So this is a definite nice one for just kind of a country swash kind of tune as far as that kind of happens. This is just kind of some outback kind of uptown kind of vibes as far as that kind of happens. Just gravel roads, stuff like that as far as that kind of goes. Just a real kind of exciting one to kind of have. Just one that kind of has like some good heaviness about it. It's different. It's just a pretty nice, thrilling one to kind of have. It's a definite good weekend song to kind of have as far as that kind of happens. Just a nice one to kind of have for stepping out and just getting ready to have some time as far as that kind of goes. Another one that's kind of similar to Hits Different, just in a more smokage kind of sense, is Fire It Up. This is definitely a hella burnt kind of barbecue and late day. This song is a good hella burnt kind of barbecue and late day summer haze cut. I would have to say it's a get some smokage going kind of tune. I would definitely have to feel like, and this is just a song with some good jive about it. So this is definite nice one. Um, this really kind of has like the kind of more minimal, just kind of acoustic guitar licks and that type of stuff. Just the kind of light guitar licks as far as it kind of happens. Just some nice kind of poundage as far as that kind of happens. Just a good late summer, just kind of late July, just kind of having some beers in your system, some lemonade, some stuff like that, some ribs, some of those type things. Just a good kind of party starter as far as that kind of happens. I feel like Aw Nah and Hot Sauce are definitely some ones. Aw Nah, Hot Sauce, and Fire It Up are all some kind of thrilling ones that just kind of have that kind of, these are all just kind of mid-paced kind of country rap type tunes that just have like a good kind of feel about them, that just the energy is just really kind of thrilling and just kind of, I mean, they're mid-paced, but they just do a good job of getting you elevated and just kind of exhilarated as far as that kind of happens. So these are just some night ones in that sort of sense. And then one, like I was saying, one that's similar to Fire It Up is Hot Sauce. This is basically like an outback kind of countryside hit. I would have to say it's a good swashed and keyed kind of song. I would definitely have to say it's just a nice mid-pace kind of bubbler and it's a get crunk kind of hit. So this is just a nice one. There's just some good ones on here that kind of have those particular type feels. So yeah, Hot Sauce is just another kind of acoustic, kind of outback, kind of swash one to kind of have for like some pounding barbecues as far as that kind of happens. Just some good ones to kind of have some drinks in your, some good ones to have like some drinks in your system and just kind of appreciate the summer as far as that kind of happens. Just some real nice ones for that sort of tinge as far as that kind of happens. So these are just some nice ones. And then Aw Nah is another good one that kind of has that heavy sort of sense. This Aw Nah is kind of a bass heavy pounder with like a country flair about it. I would have to say this is a good song, is a good gets you riled cut. I would definitely feel like, and it's just a nice hazy kind of bubbler to stunt to. I would definitely feel like, so this is kind of one of the more trap heavy type ones on this particular project. This is one that kind of feels a little bit more rap oriented, just kind of with the bass heaviness as far as that kind of happens. Just a real thumper, just has some country flair about it. Just a nice bopish kind of one to kind of have as far as it kind of happens. It's a good vehicle one, I would probably say, just to kind of stunt to a little bit. May, you know, just kind of be tricked out in like a decent sense, just to kind of be tricked out in like a decent sense as far as that kind of happens. But all of these are pretty riveting energy. Like I was saying, Hot Sauce, Aw Nah, Fire It Up, Hits Different, Badass American, all of these do kind of have like some pretty tinged kind of southern fried kind of energy as far as that kind of happens. This great songs kind of have some drinks in your system, great songs for some ribs and some lemonade and some stuff like that. Just good kind of summer after hours parties, and especially in the late day as far as that kind of happens. It's more so than like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of these kind of feel like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock is like the sun starting to set, some of those type tunes as far as that kind of happens, just in like a good kind of maybe going out. I mean, some of these don't really feel as much like, these songs don't really feel as much of like dance club or nightclub type stuff, but they definitely kind of feel like barbecue and just kind of like country bar type stuff as far as just getting ready to step out in a little bit, just have some drinks in your system and just kind of more get-togethers and shindigs as far as that kind of happens. It's just some good concepts to kind of have with that. So me recommending 5 out of 6 songs on this particular EP, I'm going to go ahead and give this EP like a 9.25 out of 10. I feel like there's enough heavy hitting songs on this particular project to kind of deliver upon that. Really, there's just only one dud on here. The only real problem I really had with this project in particular is just the fact that the kind of minimalist productions, I kind of feel like they're just kind of more swashed and laid back as far as that kind of happens. Just a lot more skeletal and like a country rap kind of sense. But apart from that, this is definitely a pretty heavy hitting album, just albeit not an immediate one as far as that kind of happens. This is kind of the concept. There's a lot of good thrilled songs that kind of get swashed and fucked up to and crunked to as far as that kind of happens, but it's just not immediate in terms of like the breadwinners. This is this kind of like an independent kind of underground project. You have to kind of know about this to know about it. It just doesn't have like the radio singles and just overall. This is kind of off the wayside, I'd have to say. It's just kind of in the marketing as to how that kind of happens. But I'd say the social score as a result, I'm gonna go ahead and give the social score like an 8.5 out of 10 because I feel like this is some good stuff. Definitely, this is some good stuff. I would definitely say the songs are thrilling as far as that kind of happens. I just kind of feel like it's just low key, and these songs are just not immediate, so it might detract from the overall experience if you just don't know what to expect going in as far as that kind of happens. The breadwinners are just kind of late bloomers as far as that kind of happens. That's just kind of the thing. So 8.5. 9.25 score. So I just would have to say, in terms of the future, like this just came out back in October, so it's kind of the concept about it. Hopefully, we get some more stuff from both these guys and possibly even some more collaborations. Hopefully, we get some more projects from these guys and hopefully even some more collaboration projects as far as that kind of happens. But this is a good concept here. I definitely like the thrills of this particular one. It's just some good stuff overall. And I'd say I do recommend it. So find it if you can. I definitely say to track this project down and find it. It's got some good stuff on here.